I 32 male thought I had it all figured out. Found the one, booked the venue, tasted the cake, and genuinely looked forward to our life together. The whole shebang. My fiancée, let's call her, well, her. She was amazing, or so I truly believed. There was this one dude, though, just an old friend, she'd say with this breezy little wave of her hand whenever his name popped up. They'd grab coffee sometimes, totally platonic, she swore. I trusted her completely, even when that little voice in the back of my head whispered now and then. Then came the business trip. Lasted a whole week. Said the hotel had dodgy Wi-Fi, so calls were spotty. Okay, fine. Long distance sucks anyway. But she mentioned a specific restaurant they'd supposedly had a team dinner at, a place I knew was closed for renovations. That detail snagged in my mind. It felt off. The details were fuzzy, her texts were short. That little voice started yelling. So, instead of blowing up her phone or turning into some psycho boyfriend, I did what felt necessary to quiet that nagging feeling. I hired a PI. Yeah, Judge Judy over here, but hear me out. It wasn't about inherent distrust. It was about that specific detail that didn't add up. The reports came back faster than I expected. Photos, dates, times, locations. And guess who was just an old friend? Yeah, him. Cozy dinners, holding hands, late-night entries into his apartment. My stomach dropped so hard I think it landed somewhere around my ankles. The wedding was in 2 weeks. Invitations sent, deposits paid. Everyone was buzzing with excitement. Me? I felt like I'd been punched in the chest repeatedly. But I didn't rage. Didn't cry much. I just felt this cold, quiet fury bubbling inside. I started documenting everything. Every lie, every vague excuse, every time she'd brush him off as just a friend. Screenshots of their texts, the ones she'd carelessly left open on her tablet one evening. The PI's report, even the calendar invites she'd conveniently forgotten to mention. I was building a case not for court, but for something far more personal. The wedding day dawned bright and sunny. Perfect, right? Wrong again. She looked stunning in her dress, all smiles as she walked down the aisle. I managed a weak smile back, play my part. The vows started, in sickness and in health. Yeah, right? When it was my turn, I didn't say the usual I do. Instead, I reached inside my jacket and pulled out a thick envelope. The room went silent. Confused murmurs rippled through the guests. Her smile faltered. Before we go any further, I said, my voice surprisingly steady, there's something you should see. I held out the envelope. Her eyes darted between the envelope and my face, a flicker of panic starting to show. She took it, her hand trembling slightly. As she opened it and started to read, her face drained of all color. Her eyes widened in disbelief, then filled with horror. A low gasp escaped her lips, and the envelope fluttered to the floor. She swayed, and then, with a soft thud, she collapsed. Update 1. Okay, so chaos kind of erupted after she hit the deck. Her mom was screaming. Her bridesmaids looked like they'd seen a ghost, and just an old friend was suddenly looking very pale in the back row. I stayed calm, though. Had to. This was the plan. Turns out, the envelope contained a detailed timeline of their secret rendezvous, complete with the PI's lovely little photo album. I also included copies of some rather affectionate texts I'd found when she left her tablet unlocked on the coffee table one night. The paramedics were called, mostly for show. She came around pretty quickly, looking like she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. Her first words? A pathetic, "How could you? How could I?" I echoed, the quiet fury still simmering. Maybe you should ask yourself that. The guests started to get the picture. Whispers turned into outright chatter. People were pulling out their phones, probably live streaming the whole damn thing. My best man looked like he was trying to decide whether to hug me or run for the hills. Her dad, bless his oblivious heart, tried to smooth things over, saying it must be a misunderstanding. I just handed him a copy of the misunderstanding. His face went through about 5 different shades of red. She was trying to talk to me, tears streaming down her face, but I just shook my head. There's nothing to say. I told her, my voice flat. The wedding's off. Forever. Then I turned to her old friend, who was trying to make a sneaky exit. You, I said, pointing a finger that I'm pretty sure was trembling just a little. Stay right there. We need to have a little chat. Let's just say his getaway plans were officially foiled. Update 2. The aftermath was intense. Her family was a mess. Her mom kept alternating between yelling at me and sobbing. Her dad looked like he aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Just an old friend, tried to deny everything, but the photographic evidence wasn't exactly open to interpretation. I had a brief, very unsatisfying conversation with her. Lots of tears, lots of I didn't mean for it to happen, lots of blaming him. Apparently, he was manipulative and she was vulnerable. Yeah, right. Spare me the sob story. The real kicker? We had a joint bank account for wedding expenses. Nothing major, but enough to sting. Guess who emptied it out a few days after the business trip? Yep. So, on top of the betrayal, there was a nice little bit of financial shoddiness to top it off. My lawyer is now handling that. He's got this calm, scary way of smiling that makes me feel a lot better about getting my money back. As for just an old friend, well, let's just say I had a very calm, very direct conversation with his long-term girlfriend. Turns out, our little secret wasn't so secret after all. Let's just leave it at that. Some bridges were definitely burned that day. I've been staying with my best friend. He's been a rock, mostly just listening and occasionally plying me with beer and bad jokes. Slowly but surely, the shock is wearing off, replaced by a kind of grim satisfaction. I dodged a bullet, a nuclear warhead disguised as a blushing bride. The venue and most of the vendors were surprisingly understanding, especially after hearing, well, everything. Lost a bit on the deposits, but honestly, it's a small price to pay for dodging a lifetime of lies. My phone's been blowing up with messages from friends and family. Most are supportive, a few are confused, and one aunt actually asked if she could have my share of the wedding cake. Priorities, people. I haven't spoken to her directly since the wedding day. My lawyer is the go-between for the financial stuff. Honestly, I don't want to hear her voice. The image of her collapsing on the floor is still pretty fresh in my mind. And honestly, it wasn't a pretty sight, but it wasn't entirely unpleasant either. Justice served cold, and with a side of wedding cake, I didn't have to eat. Final update. It's been a few months now, and the dust has mostly settled. The lawyer did his thing, and I got back every single penny from that joint account, plus a little extra for the inconvenience. Let's just say karma has a way of finding people, especially when there's a paper trail. Her old friend is now officially an ex-friend to everyone involved. His girlfriend dumped him spectacularly. Apparently, my little expose was just the tip of the iceberg, and last I heard, he's moved back in with his mom. Plays well with the narrative, doesn't it? As for her, radio silence. I haven't heard a peep, and honestly, I don't expect to. The sheer humiliation of collapsing at her own wedding in front of everyone she knows probably served as a pretty strong deterrent. I moved on, got my own place again, started focusing on my hobbies, and reconnected with some old friends. It's weird, but in a way, this whole disaster was a reset button. I feel lighter, freer, like I dodged a lifetime of walking on eggshells. The wedding photos that were already printed, my best friend and I had a bonfire. It was surprisingly therapeutic. We roasted marshmallows and laughed about the sheer absurdity of all. I'm not saying I'm completely healed. There's still moments when I think about it, when that little sting of betrayal resurfaces. But it's fading. The anger is gone, replaced by a kind of quiet understanding. Some people just suck. And sometimes the universe, with a little help from a PI and a well-timed envelope, takes out the trash. So yeah, justice served. Maybe not in the way I initially imagined, but definitely effective. And honestly, I'm doing pretty damn good. Thanks for listening, Reddit. You guys helped more than you know. On to the next chapter. Hopefully one with significantly less drama and a lot more peace. Cheers!